Good evening, Melissa.
Hi, how are you?
I am doing very well, and how are you doing this evening?
I'm wonderful. I'm so excited to be able to have a chance to speak with you. You have no idea.
Yes, and I'm very excited to speak to you as well. And I know that today you have many questions and many ideas that you wish to share, so whenever you are ready to begin, you may.
Okay, I'm just going to jump in and I thank you. I would first and foremost like to know if you're able to share with me what my galactic origin and star family, like just telling me a little bit more about that.
Yes, there are many energies that are connected to yours, both in this moment and before this incarnation. In the concept of what a star seed is, this means that you have broken from another incarnation cycle to join the Earth cycle. And in that concept, this does not wholly fit, as you have had many different Earth incarnations, but it is more so like a shared incarnation cycle, one in which you connect to the concept of both Earth incarnation cycle and other, and in the other, the cycle that we perceive you from is Pleaidian by nature, and although there is Pleaidian consciousness that runs through you and connects to you, although you have come from the cycle of the Pleaidian origin, it is not what you would call a fixed incarnation cycle. Let us use, for example, the average entity that is either shared incarnation or perceived, as you would say, a star seed comes from one planetary consciousness, and from that incarnation cycle they join the Earth incarnation cycle for one to multiple lives in order to help integrate energies. But your own other incarnation cycle comes more so from the Pleiadian collective consciousness. Now, when we express the word Pleaidian, this is what is called a blanket term that covers tens of thousands of different kinds of entities that live in the area that humanity would call the Pleiades. And in that region, within the 10,000 star systems, or the 10,000 races within the star systems, there are many different humanoid entities that connect with humanity, that send love and energy, and from all of these there are 7 different races within the Pleiadian collective consciousness that you have taken turn incarnating in, sharing energy. And what this does for your own sake is bring both the insight of Pleiadian culture, the insight of Pleiadian energy, and the transmutation of energy into the Earth collective consciousness. Now, with that being said, there are a great deal of Earth incarnations that you have also had, and this brings us forward to what you would perceive as your galactic family. In this concept, there are many different races that interacted with you throughout your Pleiadian incarnations of the 7 different Pleiadian races, but within that concept there are also lineages that are connected to you as you are a human from Earth, and in that concept there are over 11 different races that connected to explicitly, specifically as you were on Earth and incarnating. Out of the 11 races, there are 4 consciousnesses that you would know when you hear the name of this, that is aware in the human collective consciousness. Not only Pleiadian consciousness, as this goes without saying, but the 4 other races are Syrian by nature, Andromedan by nature, and also Cassiopean by nature. And in that concept, with those 3, you feel a connection, but the 4th consciousness is what you would call Elohim by nature. So in that concept, there are 5 different races, 4 that are different from the Pleiadian version, and in that connections within your Earth connection, it carries lineage for your own self. The majority of humans perceive consciousnesses that are from another planetary consciousness to be extraterrestrial by nature, but some of the Syrian energies and some of the Elohim energies, or what is perceived to be Elohim energy, are connected to what we would call a future version of Earth consciousness. So in fact, they are not extraterrestrial by nature, they are more so extra-dimensional in
Yes.
extra-linear time and nature. So all of these connections you share and you feel, and that is why your consciousness is so connected to those concepts.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yes, and very exciting as well.
Yes. Yes, that's really cool. I'm excited about that. Um,
Yes.
that's interesting. That makes a lot of sense. I do feel like I definitely have, I get a lot of information in the dream state about other incarnations, and even though I feel very connected to the earth, I don't really feel like, I kind of feel like a stranger in a strange land with the human species right now, but not with the planet. And I have had dreams about being on what it looks like Earth. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yes, and the reason that you have this feeling of disconnection from the people and not the planet is that when you incarnated into the Earth Collective Consciousness, there was a built-in internal understanding and knowing not only of your capability and possibility of vibration that you can have upon the Earth Collective, but also understanding and knowing your galactic consciousness that is connected with you. So in that essence, you are feeling much as a fourth density or fifth density being, living in a third density environment, a highly polarized environment. And in that concept, discomfort comes, a feeling of not connecting or fitting directly inward comes, but through that deeper understanding of yourself, that Earth consciousness connects to you very well.
That's wonderful. That's really beautiful.
Yes!
I love it. Okay. Um, my next question is that, okay, I don't know how to word this. I feel or I believe, or it's been my just intuitive understanding that I have come across like at least what feels like two other fractals of my soul in this lifetime, in this current beingness now. Is that possible and is that true?
Yes! First of all, we look at the concept of fractals of your own soul. Now, in that concept, are you speaking of fractals of your own consciousness or fractals of the overall oversoul?
I don't know. I would say
Yes!
my own consciousness or my own part of me, part of my own soul, what I perceive as my own soul.
In this concept, there are many different ways to explain this. What we perceive as fractal of your own consciousness, and this is represented by two specific animal consciousnesses that have connected to you within your lifetime. One of them is only for a short minute or a short while
Hmm.
or a standard of time, the other being with you for longer periods. In that concept, these entities are what we would call direct fractal consciousnesses of your own self coming into the Earth system, having a larger amount of consciousness than is average for human. There is a fractalization that occurs so that these entities can show into your life at the exact time needed, so you can reflect upon a bigger picture of this incarnation. But there is also what we would call versions of your own consciousness, which in normality would appear to be future or past versions of yourself. But what many humans are not truly grasping in the concept is that future and past versions of yourself can also appear in the now moment, so it is more as a parallel version of yourself. And in that concept, we see that there are four entities that you have physically connected with. But when you are asking that specific question, the two energies that we read are more perceived as soulmate consciousnesses, entities that have traveled with you, not only in your Earth collective consciousness, but also partaking in Pleaidian collective consciousness. So those energies are tend to connect you very deeply and integrate with you in an instantaneous understanding of your connection with him, both on conscious and subconscious levels. So in the answer, in a more simple way, it is yes, yes, and yes.
Okay. Um, is there a reason, like in these relationships, I have had the awareness. Is there a reason why I don't know, like I feel alone in my awareness, but obviously it's had like a huge impact on my own growth and development, having contact with these people, like, for my whole adult life, they've been kind of weaving in and out. Is that for my own growth and development as a soul? Obviously, I decided to do that.
Yes, the growth of your own consciousness is a very large part of this piece of the puzzle, but when you are looking at the concept of co-creating, it is also a very important part for the other entities that are involved in the co-creation. As you are perceived, there can be extraordinarily level amounts of times, or there can be frustration in those times, even great excitements. And when you look at all of those combined, at the levels of frustration within you, those energies reflect a concept of yourself, a truth to be told that lies underneath, and in the happiness of that, it is reflecting to the entities that have come into your awareness to help them within their own journey. And in those mediocre or midterm times, those experiences are just a representation of your own logical understanding mixed with the emotional state, knowing that things can be either negative or positive, and the neutrality in which you come from is the pinnacle of your own ability to create in either direction.
Beautiful. Okay, that's wonderful.
Yes!
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay. Um, that's awesome. Thank you. Um, okay. Um, in my dream state, where like I said, I get a lot of information in my dream state and always have. Um, Sometimes I feel like in the times when I'm not getting a lot of messages that seem like they're pertinent for me in this lifetime, I feel like I'm very far away doing a whole nother job that makes me feel very tired. Can you talk about this? Is that accurate?
Yes, it is very accurate, and your insight is very in touch with your own understanding. As you are looking at the dream state, we separate this into three categories. One being the low astral state, two being the high astral state, and three being your creator sphere of dream state. And in that concept, the first level, you leave the physical body, experiencing Earth as it is in front of you, or moving through time backwards and forwards, even through parallel versions of Earth. But in the second, in the high astral state, you are connecting to the same concept as the first. In only addition, you are looking at consciousnesses that are above your own density in the physical reality. In the third, this is what we would call the pre-template state of consciousness, where you go to create both your own environments, categories, situations, and co-creations. And in that third state is where you spend the majority of your time introducing your consciousness to other consciousnesses. Now, in that concept, there is a broad amount of information that we can give you, so we will narrow it down to what we perceive as the most pertinent. When you are in that level of consciousness, you have co-created with other consciousnesses, and in that concept there is one specific planetary consciousness that is very similar to the Earth vibration, one in where separation occurs to a great degree. So within your co-creation with this small group of entities, you are working from the highest portion of your higher fractal consciousness. And when you are doing that and co-creating, you are sending a certain energy to help create a paradigm to both the Earth consciousness and this other planetary consciousness. What you are sending is an overall vibration of both love, both understanding, and both integration of lower fractal consciousness to the higher fractal consciousness. So, in essence, what you are doing is helping people understand themselves better, understand others better, and truly integrate the higher knowing from themselves to others. And in that concept, by co-creating this, when you are not grounded in that earth energy, it can be a difficult energy because you have not truly separated or at least removed the part of the physical body's energy that connects to your dream state energy, and that energy carries a funneling of energy down into your physical body. There are many ways to help you remove some of that tiredness and remove some of that energy from your own consciousness as you are in dream state. One of the most simple concepts is before sleep state. Remind yourself to ground. Ground yourself with a visualization and use that energy. And before going to sleep, as you are grounded, use the intent that whatever work I am doing in the dream state can stay within the dream state, and it does not have to draw upon my physical body in order to achieve this. And it will help you exponentially.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I will
Yes!
do that. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Yes! And you are very welcome.
Awesome. Um, okay. Um, Next question. You probably may know this already, but I work with doing Reiki energy and using stones and crystals for healing, and they're working with the consciousness of the mineral kingdom on this planet. And I know that I've done this in other incarnations. Um, is there any insight into other healing modalities other than Reiki and sound and vibrational healing and working with the stones and crystals that I can might want to learn about in order to assist humanity better?
Yes, there is an energy that we are aware of through the host that is very pertinent to your own energy. So if it is possible for us to ask you a question, this will help
Sure.
us perceive. Are
Okay.
you aware of a specific book that is written in your literature upon your planet known as the Hands of Light?
No.
Yes, this specific book is one that deals with transference of energy, about hands-on healing concepts, and already with your knowledge of both Reiki and crystal consciousness and sound vibration, using certain techniques within this book can help amplify both the effects of your conscious connection, but also in your co-creating collective. And this concept in itself can be very useful to you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. That's so helpful.
Yes, you are very welcome.
I love that. Thank you. Um, okay. I um I am gonna just skip ahead. I have like a whole notebook full of stuff here. I had a really interesting experience, and it's one that is so meaningful to me, and I really treasure it. Recently, just a few weeks ago, I had an experience where in the dream state, I was someone else and was had had been receiving telepathic messages from someone in the Andromeda galaxy, and I have no idea where I was coming from or what type of entity that I was at the time because I didn't see myself, and had been given coordinates to go to the Andromeda galaxy to find this person and who was a male energy. And when I found this person, um, he touched me and turned me around, and we were looking in this glass panel that he was showing me, like, I was able to see myself and him as we were in another incarnation as different entities. And I yelled out, like, I recognized him immediately and yelled out, Nishani, Nishani, oh my gosh, it's you, Nishani. And then, like, right as I was making this connection, I was pulled back out of the dream state. Can you speak about that, any?
Yes, this is one concept that is very connected to your Pleaidian consciousness and an incarnation as Pleaidian consciousness. When you are looking at a sixth density version of your Pleaidian incarnation that you received, you were able to connect and co-create consciousness with Andromedans. It is not frequent that entities within the Milky Way galaxy co-create exclusively, or perhaps more so than exclusively, frequently with other consciousnesses of galactic nature. For instance, everything that can be experienced within this galaxy can be experienced here without needing to go outside of the galaxy. But in this specific incident, in this specific incarnation, you are co-creating and connecting with an Andromedan race, and this entity that you recognized is one in which you grew a great deal of love and connection for, one in which you incarnated exclusively for meeting this consciousness and co-creating with him. And as you were co-creating in that existence, there was a great deal of healing that occurred from Andromedan consciousness to the galactic Milky Way consciousness. Those two energies has had difficulties previously, before the area of time that you would call the Orion Wars. There was a great deal of distance and mistrust between a large amount of entities in this galaxy and the Andromedan galaxy. So in that consciousness, as both of you co-created and took what you had learned from one another to your own races and showed them, as well as the traveling in itself, the meeting of neighbors within that galactic consciousness, you came to grow an understanding that the vibration of Andromedan galaxy and Milky Way galaxy have synced more so, that the overall themes are becoming closer in energy, and that is why when you experience the physical nature of both galaxies, you see that there is the high probability of both galaxies combining into one galaxy, because the experience has paralleled so closely. They are now joining an energetic connection, and a great deal of the understanding of their joining came from your own race and the Andromedan race that you are speaking of in that incarnation.
That's beautiful. Is it possible for me? Is this someone who I could consider a guide if I would they know that I was reaching out to them? Nishani,
Yes! This
did I get the
Nishani
name right?
consciousness. Yes, from vibrational understanding of what we perceive, the name is very similar and correct in nature. And as you look at this entity as a separate entity, it is not the same entity in this specific time that you are experiencing now as he was in that time period, but the non-physical version of that entity still exists in a higher format and a more expanded and fully integrated into its higher fractal consciousness version, and that entity is connected with you very deeply. If you look at the concept and defining the word guide by an entity who is within your energetic field and is highly accessible, then we would say it is most definitely a guide to you.
That's beautiful. That's
Yes!
really, really beautiful. I love that. Uh,
Yes! And very exciting as well.
yes, that's great. I love that. Um, okay, I'm going to ask a few questions about my sweet starseed children.
Yes!
I I definitely have always been aware that my children are star seeds and they're from different, I feel like they're all three from different stars. They have different star energies to them. And I was wondering if you could tell me about just briefly sort of about their affiliations or where they originate from. And my son is the oldest. His name is Teal. And my middle one is Indigo, and my youngest one is Maggie.
Yes, when we are looking at that concept, we are not able to specifically enter their own energy without permission, but what
Okay.
we do see is their energy as it touches yours, so we are well aware of the energy that they share with the community and with external entities. So as we are perceiving that energy, we can specifically connect to the concept that in the races that you are already connected to in the four that we spoke of previously,
Hmm.
that carries the same lineage as your own children's concept. We
Okay.
have the very first entity, which is connected to both Pleiadian consciousness and Andromedan consciousness. The second child is the one that is connected more so to the Elohim consciousness, and the last child is the entity that is connected more so to what you would perceive not only as Syrian energy, but also an energy that is pulled away from the consciousnesses that you are connected to one race that is specifically not well known to humanity, one that is connected in the star system that you call Taurus, and in that constellation it is a very humanoid race that made contact with humans for a very small window, but the multiple layers of energies of the star seed from the children, we are not sure of their lineage in that way by looking in, but what we can see is the energy that allows them to co-create with you, and we also understand by looking in your energy that you're agreeing to be a human vessel to give birth to children who were from other star systems, as star seeds was very high in nature, and your agreement upon that. So what we can tell you is that those energies that are already familiar for you, plus your own desire to help foster an age of star seeds more so into Earth consciousness, allowed the co-creation of all of this consciousnesses, enable to co-create with them.
That's beautiful. I
Yes, and
love
very
that.
exciting as well.
Yes, and that resonates with me very deeply. I feel like I have had, or I have experienced in the dream state having um, other incarnations with my son Teal, my oldest son or my only son. Have we had incarnations together?
In that concept, as you are Pleiadian in nature, you have shared incarnations at least 3 times that we have been able to perceive.
Okay, wonderful. Um, okay. Um, I have had recurring dreams, some of them with my son in them, about this place that all I know to call it is the pink planet. And once it felt like I was being left there to uh, terraform it or start I don't know, start life on that planet. It's a very barren and desolate place. Do you know where I'm talking about?
Yes, is this planetary consciousness one with a desert in or desert-ish terrain?
Yes, very much so.
Yes, you are connecting to an Arcturian planet, one in which sky is very pink in nature, one
Yeah.
in which desert covers the majority of that area. What we can express to you is that the plan itself was not to terraform that planet because there is a great deal of life upon that planet, but what your mission more so was to bring your own consciousness to help co-create with him. The Pleaidian consciousness that you carried in that dream state, the Pleaidian consciousness that you were connected to, had very frequently tried to co-create with this Arcturian energy, but there is a fundamental difference in the Arcturian energy and the Pleiadian energy, and in that difference also carries a history of not being able to co-create upon the level that both desire because of the difference in belief systems, but in that essence you were trying to bring forward more so Pleiadian energy in order for the excuse us, for the Arcturians to co-create with, but also for the Arcturians to be able to co-create with Pleiadian energy. In that concept, that dream in itself was your memory and symbolism of you bringing forward that energy.
Awesome. That's amazing. I think that's so beautiful.
Yes, and very
I,
exciting as well.
well, and I'm very attracted to places on this planet that look like that. I feel very attached to that for some reason.
Yes, it is something that comes within the entirety of the Earth collective consciousness. There has been several hundreds of thousands of humans who bring forward the exact types of memories, and it is due to the fact that the Arcturian DNA that is within humanity is often engaged or even sparked forward into an ignition of energy within the DNA that allows them to bring back certain memories, not only of the physical nature of the planet itself, but also the energetic connection that they feel to the vibrational energy of the inner technology.
That's beautiful. I feel when I first really started to get into my work with stones and crystals and Reiki and healing and hard and heavy, I felt very connected to Arcturian energy. Was I accurate in that?
Yes, your connection to that concept is highly connected, and the energy matches very well, not only because the techniques that you were learning to deal with crystals and sound vibration was technology that was passed on from the Arcturian consciousness, but due to the fact that you have spent at least the one incarnation that we perceive being Pleiadian, co-creating with him. In one instance that we see, you lived with many Arcturians within a place that would be considered a neutral area, or something that would be considered a common place where many consciousnesses within the galaxy meet together. So in that area it brings a great reference of activation in your human form from your Arcturian counterparts.
Okay, well that makes sense. That's really amazing. I
Yes!
call on them all the time for some reason when I need anything. I always call on that energy to assist me.
Yes,
It
a very
feels
great
very
energy it
protective.
is as well.
Hmm. Um, okay. I am was adopted and I don't feel any sort of connection to my birth mother at all. I don't really feel like I was like I feel like my consciousness was inserted into a baby that was already born, I guess. I don't know. I just intuitively feel like that. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I do feel a very strong connection to my biological father, and I was wondering if if you could speak of what that connection is, and well, I'll just let you speak about that. If
Yes, when you are looking at this concept, the average human, when they are connecting to consciousness into a physical body, are usually at or around the time of the physical birth. Some choose to venture their consciousness to connect with the physical body in utero several months before, some even time after the physical birth. So in that consciousness, you are correct by saying that it was after the physical birth occurred, but not more than a few minutes afterwards. It goes to a place where intentionally understood that there was a great probability of the adoption process and the energy behind it. The reason there is a disconnect with the concept of the mother is somewhat obvious to you within your conscious mind and subconscious mind. There is a great energy differential between the two of you vibrationally, mentally, and emotionally. And as you are seeing the connection with the father, although it does not seem logical at all times, there is a great deal of experiences that both of you have shared in timelines that are considered past in your linear state. There are many human incarnations that you shared with your biological father in your earth experiences, and in that concept it grew a great kinship, and because that entity was your physical and biological father, the mother is one consciousness that you did not connect to before. So it almost was the thought process that because I wish to stay connected physically and biological to this entity, I must accept whatever feminine counterpart that he chooses to have birth with or children with, so that you may connect to that.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yes!
It's like everything you say, I already know inside of me, but I appreciate your hearing it and just
Yes!
I
And this
appreciate it.
is You are very welcome, and this reason is one that is very simple within our own perception. It is due to the fact that we are taking this information directly from your own energy and giving it back to you.
Well, um, I'm glad that you can do that because I don't always listen to myself, you know?
Yes, but you have grown a great deal in the last 1 3/4 years in being able to do that more so and more so, and that is the growth that we see within your third and fourth chakra within the time period.
That's beautiful. Yes, I'm a work in progress.
Yes, every entity that we perceive within the galactic consciousness is the same, although many humans do not perceive entities that are higher knowledge and love to be growing and expanding. That is the one thing that every physical entity in the universe shares.
It's beautiful. Um,
Yes!
are you, do you feel it has crossed my mind, not not all the time and just periodically, but since I would have never consciously thought to ask this question, but I thought of this question in my dream last night, so I feel like it has some validity to it or more validity to it because I wouldn't have thought of it. Are you able to tell if my biological father is still incarnated on this planet right now?
We are able to see the energy as it connects to yours, and we see that the energy remains, but we do not look at the physical attributes
Right.
of any consciousness, more so on the entities that do not give us the permission to connect to. But what we can tell you is that the energy of this entity is still very closely connected to you.
Okay, beautiful. I love that.
Yes!
Um, okay. I have had um lots of experiences where I have had visual, like with my eyes open, visions through one eye only, like through my right eye. Um, of different types of um, I don't know how else to say it. People that look like dogs. Can you tell me about this?
Yes! These entities that you are perceiving are what you would call the canine humanoid entities, and those entities are ones that exist throughout the galactic consciousness. You see the representation and the visualization of them, but this goes more so not to your own connection to them, but you see the entities who you feel and experience that are around you in these moments, or ones whose energy has touched yours recently, and that is being reflected back by the visualizations. We do not wish to miscommunicate the idea, because you have had connections with canine humanoids before, and these experiences have been in depth and very important and powerful to you. But in the concept of why you are seeing them, it is not so much of the fact that you have connected with him, but more so you are basically seeing the version of the humans who you are connecting to that is linked to their own canine energy. And the reason that you are perceiving this very well is that the consciousness that you have interacted with, that is canine humanoid in nature, has interacted with you through your third eye, and that is the reason why your visualizations for their specific energy is so in tune.
Okay, that's beautiful. I love that.
Yes!
Okay. Um, let's see. Um, okay. Recently I have been experiencing what is like a popping sound in my bedroom and a change in vibration that kind of comes into my awareness, but I feel like intuitively like it doesn't have anything to do with me. It has to do with my daughter, Maggie, who usually sleeps with me. Is this correct?
Yes, the energy that you are experiencing, both vibrationally and audially, are connections to the energy that both of you are co-creating with, and because of your own connection to this entity, because of your own heart-to-heart vibrational resonance, it allows you to have the insight within your third eye mechanism and your throat chakra mechanism, which gives you the availability of perceiving the energy, but also the audio clarity that comes with it.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Yes!
Um, can you give me any advice? I recently had a neck injury that was a manifestation of a lot of energetic things that I already know about, and I'm doing my best to take care of. A lot of speaking my truth and advocating for myself, and uh, being more congruent with doing what I came here to do, to assist humanity full time, and not kind of trying to straddle the 3D and the 5D worlds so much, which I think was taking a toll on me. Do you have any advice as to anything else I can do that I'm not already doing to help the healing of my neck? I've been intuitively told um, that this is important, and it feels like something that it's for my own awareness and to make changes in my lifetime, and make changes in the now moment that are really important, that I was kind of dragging my feet on. Do you have any other insight into this?
Yes, there are two things that surface within this concept that are outside of your perhaps vision of conscious thought, but subconsciously it is well understood within your own self. So we will bring it from a subconscious place to a more conscious place. The very first deals with the energy, because as you are aware, all things that are energy turn or manifest into physical. So starting there is what we would perceive as the most essential. When you are looking at the concept of wisdom, it is also the place and area in your physical body that is connected to the throat chakra area. In the concept of wisdom that you receive, there are two things within that energy that you perhaps can look upon more deeply within yourself. The very first is how the wisdom integrates you. Often it comes very strongly, and you either grasp it very quickly or you resist it very quickly. And when you do this, there are judgments that are being made on that wisdom, that it is truthful or that it is not truthful. So in that essence, there comes resistance with the energy. We are not saying accepting something that resonates with your heart is a negative thing, but what we are saying is often when information comes through that is somewhat resonant, there can still be a grasping on. So looking at the concept of how you judge the wisdom that comes to you, or how you judge the person, place, or thing that brings you the wisdom that does not resonate, how you judge them. This can help your own energy, being aware of this and perceiving how you deal with this. But in the physical essence, when we look upon the physical side, you are very aware of how the concept of working with the colors within your own systems work. So working with more blue energy within your field, within your dietary implements, or within your ability to drink, using these things in the physical nature can help the energy behind it work through a more clear pathway or a more less resistant pathway. So using both of these concepts in concert can help you tremendously.
Thank you. That's
Yes!
that's wonderful. Um, I I know what you're saying. I mean, I definitely feel that within myself. It kind of feels like there's a lot of tug of war sometimes that goes on between my mind and my heart and my whole self. And um, I wish, and then I feel bad because I feel like then I feel like I should be um, different, and there's a lot of conflict, kind of like it's like a pinging of all this conflicting information coming from myself, and or I guess basically just coming from myself, and it feels like it has to kind of like sort itself out, and I don't know what else to do.
Yes! The concept that we can share with you in this is that when you are working with that feeling of tug of war, reminding yourself that pulling on either side causes an imbalance. So sometimes when you are looking at wisdom in itself, information, or when it comes to truly anything that comes into your awareness, there can be a moment of relaxation that occurs before that when you feel these strong pushing energies. It is often the understanding that when two people play tug of war, they are pulling on one another. The idea to win is not to pull back, it is to let go of the rope altogether. So working in that moment of a 10-second frame or a 15-second frame of just allowing that to occur, just coming onto you or into you through your awareness before deciding whether you should pick up the rope in the first place, can be a very great game changer.
I like that. That makes sense. Hmm.
Yes!
That's funny. Yes, I do. I probably pick up the rope more than I should, huh?
Yes, and this is not always a bad concept. Picking up the rope is very useful also for many different things within your energy, but just knowing that you have the opportunity to not pick it up can be also very empowering.
I like that. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, you are very welcome.
Um, Another question that is about myself is I have a lot of self-judgment of myself. I mean, I love myself very deeply, and that has been something that I've been really working on, like my feelings of self-worth and advocating for myself and all of these things, speaking my truth. And I feel like I'm making a lot of progress there, but I still miss I always feel like I'm waiting. I don't know, not always, but there's always a longing that I have to, as much as I love Earth, to get off this planet. And then that makes me feel bad, like I'm squandering my time here, but I can't, that is how I feel. I mean, I do tend to get really, um, I have to go through this thing of having all this hope, and there's like this big burst of like all this activity and things are happening, and there's all this forward movement, and then it kind of like goes into this lull where I can get a little bit of like, how are we ever going to get out of this mess, and how is this ever going to happen? And I feel in those moments, I have just this real longing to be not be on this planet. And I try to reach out to, my galactic family and all of my team and everything. Um, is that understandable? Like, should I just let myself off the hook for feeling like that? I feel like I'm somehow letting the earth down by feeling like that.
Yes, let us share with you that this is a very common concept with those who either come from a starseed situation or ones who come from shared lineages. And the greatest concept that we can share with you is that above and beyond its normality, the concept of not allowing yourself to beat upon yourself for feeling any way is of the utmost importance, and that when you feel and connect to that idea, allow yourself the feeling, allow yourself that energy wave that comes within you. It will always allow you, instead of the judgment yourself, the releasing of judgment will always allow you to have a greater perspective when that cycle is done, when the energy comes through its own cycle. This is truly how the universe works, within large and small cycles. So in that moment, remind yourself it is okay to feel this way, and this is the part of the cycle in which I do experience that feeling, and this feeling in the moment will help me grow and know more when it comes to my other portion of the cycle, and this in itself can give you a great relief or release upon that concept. But when you are in that moment, when it is often difficult to find inspiration, when it is difficult to find of the power within you to let go of that, try to remind yourself that when you start feeling the overwhelmed, to grab something that is symbolic by nature, perhaps a ring or something with an infinity signal, that will remind you about the cycles that you experience, and the visual cue to your mind will truly help that set in much more.
That's beautiful. I would have actually never thought of that, and I really appreciate that.
Yes, you are very welcome.
It's incredible. Do we have time for any more questions? Is time about to run out?
Yes, we have approximately 3 to 5 minutes that is remaining.
Okay. I would like to spend the rest of the time talking, or however long you want to talk about it. Um, the connection between my best friend and my, energy work partner, my literally my life partner in this lifetime, Marilyn, who is, my best friend. And I know that we've had many incarnations together. And um, I feel like I don't know that we have the same star families, but there's a definite compatibility there and a lot of familiarity. And I feel like agreements were made, and there's been a lot of lot of things that were orchestrated for us to find each other and do this work in this lifetime. And we're always doing work in every incarnation that we're in together.
Yes! First of all, let us share with you the dynamic that you are experiencing. When you look at your partner, what you see is someone who has shared a great deal of energy and incarnations with you, and this is very true. But perhaps there are some small misconceptions about how that is shared. When you are looking at this entity, what you are receiving is a typical energy of a star seed, which is yourself, and then a typical energy of an earth seed, which is her. This earth seed energy is one that is, perhaps as most humans would perceive, above and beyond the amount of lives in which their incarnation takes them to a place of the greatest growth and spiritual development. So what you have is yourself, who has come in and out of the earth experience, to her, which has been entirely into the earth experience, mastering that concept. There is not many more incarnations that she could have to complete that third, fourth density cycle of earth experience. So you have a truly mastered earth experiencer or an earth seed with one who is coming in and out of that incarnation cycle, which gives you a very great balance. This energy of hers is very comfortable with earth experiences in general and knows well how to fit in with many of those. So in those moments of discomfort, there is a reflection of her energy back to you that makes you feel safe and connected. In that concept, the reason why you feel there are great lineages that both of you share is because there is. In some of the incarnations that she has had in previous times, in linearly the past, she has been able to experience channeling. She has been able to experience being what you would call a spiritual teacher or a shaman. And in many of those lifetimes, she is connected to Pleaidian energy, she is connected to Arcturian energy and Andromedan energy and Elohim energy, and in many of her lifetimes, she physically experienced beings that connected to the earth consciousness. So throughout the entirety of her history, she is connected to exterior consciousnesses and has many of those guides still with her. So in that essence, both of you are both of the earth and the ethereal nature, and both of you share that great connection with one another. But something that we must express is that throughout your journey together, we would say that more than 45% of all the incarnations that you have had on earth that we are able to perceive are shared with her in your reality. So we count multiple dozens of incarnations where both of you have shared time, both of you have shared energy, love, and connection, and in many of the lives that both of you have shared, you have grown spiritually full. You have connected to consciousnesses within your oversoul, whether they were the lifetimes that you knew they were extraterrestrial in nature or not. You still grew into them, connected with him, commuted with him. So in that aspect and concept, you have both been brought into this life with one another yet again to reflect balance to one another, but also to reflect a growth and growing of both of your energies so that you may share with the collective consciousness around you.
That's beautiful. That makes so much sense. I love that.
Yes, and it is very exciting as well.
Yeah, so that's great. I don't have any more questions unless you have anything else to tell me.
I wish to express to you that in this day has been very exciting and very great co-creating with one another, and when a human consciousness sees and perceives our own interactions with him, they often perceive that we have done them a great favor, that we have helped them and taught them a great deal. But what I wish to share from you is my own perspective. As I am being asked certain questions, I have the opportunity to look within your own own energy in places of consciousness that myself and you have never co-created with before. By doing this, I am looking and reflecting within my own energy in places that I have not connected to before. So in that concept, we have both explored our own consciousnesses together, which helps us create a greater expansion and understanding of both one another but ourselves as well. And in that growth, it has been a great excitement, and I wish to express to you, with all that being said within this evening, I will leave you this evening in love and in light, and we will experience each other again very soon.
Wonderful. I love you so much. Thank you.
Yes, and I love you as well. Good night.
Good night.